This is the Ghoul's Guide to Santa Barbara. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to a court-appointed attorney. You have the right to sing the blues. You have the right to cable TV. That's very important. You have the right to sublet. You have the right to paint the walls. No loud colors.
I have no idea.
Nor do I. Other than an 80s movie.
Yeah, I said I was going to not do an 80s movie, and then here we are back in the 80s.
Give us a clue.
Or maybe it's not 80s. Maybe it's early 90s. 1985.
Okay.
Comedy.
Starring
Steve Guttenberg and Bobcat Goldthwait.
Goldthwait.
Okay.
All I can think of is 3 Men and a Baby with Steve Guttenberg. Or
Also Bubba Smith.
oh, I love
Michael
Bubba
Winslow.
Smith.
Marianne Ramsey.
Okay, the only other one I can think of is Short Circuit, but was that Steve
God.
Guttenberg?
I don't know.
Shall I tell you?
Yes.
It's Police Academy 2.
Oh.
I have just never.
I've never seen any of those.
I've never watched one all the way through. I don't think.
Yeah.
It was on the other day, and I got sick watching it. And I was thinking to myself, like, this. So it's, Police Academy 2 is the one where, like, they go on special assignment to, like, bust a gang. And Bobcat is the leader of the gang. And so Steve Guttenberg's Mahoney character, like, goes undercover. And he names his character Jughead of the Archies.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah,
very
but
weird.
like but the gang hangs out at their like secret location that's the old zoo at LA or down in LA at whatchamacallit, Griffith Park.
Oh, uh-huh.
And now like the old zoo is like somewhere where people just like go and have like play dates with their kids and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But it's funny how they have it all like graffitied and stuff.
Fun.
But anyways, it made me nostalgic for like, I love like a ragtag group of rebels like
You
coming
do.
together.
You do,
and-
yeah.
Yeah. And I miss that as a genre. I feel like we don't get much of that these days. Anyways. that was
Nice.
my
Oh,
quote.
I'm the timekeeper, huh? Okay, so thank you for that, Jen. This is the Ghoul's Guide to Santa Barbara. I'm Summers.
I'm Liz.
I'm Jen.
And this week, Liz is going to tell us all about Brinkerhoff Avenue.
Yes, indeedy. So
I always feel like we have to respond to that
I know.
introduction, and there's really only
that's true.
yeah, there's only a couple ways you can positively acknowledge.
Why, yes, I am. Let's
That's
do
right,
it.
Chris.
Usually one of us is like, I am.
Yeah.
You heard right, folks. So, back in an earlier episode of this podcast, I mentioned Bee the Button Lady, who worked at an antique shop on Brinkerhoff Avenue. Today, we are returning to Brinkerhoff Avenue to learn more about this little street and its reputed haunting. Unfortunately, I could not find any more information about Bee the Button Lady. No
She's
stories
lost
of her
to history.
No stories of her being a ghost on Brinkerhoff, but it does have some kind of interesting history and also is reportedly haunted by a couple of ghosts.
Nice.
So people who live in Santa Barbara are probably familiar with Brinkerhoff Avenue, but for any listeners who don't live here or don't know where it's a tiny little 1-block street downtown, a couple blocks west of State Street.
Okay.
And State Street is like our big main drag. There are a bunch of cute little houses. At some point, the city declared it a historic landmark district. The city's historic resource design guidelines say the houses on Brinkerhoff are, quote, prime examples of colonial revival, national folk, Italianate, Queen Anne, and craftsman styles. So lots of cute
little Victorian.
Yeah, a little
little-
Victorian.
Different than the red tile roof situation
Yes.
that we are so used to.
Yeah.
Actual personality.
Yeah,
Right.
like all like kind of fun colors, and yeah, it's a cute little street. There is a long history of the houses also being used for businesses like antique stores, like where Bee the Button Lady worked, art and design studios, veterinary offices, other stuff. So for some history on Brinkerhoff Avenue, Let's travel back to 1852.
Oh,
When a gambler, horseman, gangster, vigilante, gold prospector, and pig rancher,
okay.
that's one person, named Jack Powers, although his real name was John Power.
Interesting.
I don't know. He went by Jack Powers. Well, him and his gang, the Jack Powers gang, had a shootout with the Santa Barbara sheriff. And I don't know what like the reasoning was for it. I couldn't really find details on that. Today's story is not even about that.
Okay.
But like one of us should do an episode about him because he's got like a wild story, and I just kind of like like glanced at it and I was like, I can't
Okay.
follow that right now.
Okay.
But yeah, so wild story includes a lot of time in Santa Barbara. So back to Brinkerhoff. So following this shootout between Powers and the sheriff, a passenger on a steamship or steamer that was visiting Santa Barbara, Dr. Samuel Bevier Brinkerhoff,
Okay.
he was brought in to like care for the people involved in the shootout.
Oh.
He was 29, visiting from New York. I don't know like where he was headed or if it was like an active decision to stay in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
But the ship left
Oh.
Without him.
without him, and continued on to wherever it was going. So as a result of that happening, the ship leaving, he remained and became Santa Barbara's first doctor.
They didn't have one yet?
No.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would guess they had people that like served that
Yeah.
purpose, but he was like an actual
Witches.
surgeon.
Yeah.
And so now we have our little real estate section.
Okay.
So I have another good one for you. As you may have guessed already, Brinkerhoff Avenue is named after Dr. Brinkerhoff.
Yes. Okay.
Because he owned it. So he purchased that entire block.
Okay.
I think that it was like Brinkerhoff is like, it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of a mid-block thing, right? So it's between Coda Street, Haley Street, De La Vina Street, and Chapala Street.
Yeah, it's like
And then-
a halfway through
Yeah,
the block.
exactly. And so I think he just owned that whole area. So any guesses on how much he purchased that land for?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad we're doing this. $4.
A little more.
$3,670.
A little less.
$2,000.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
$20.
Oh, I was closest.
You were close.
I hate it. I hate it.
And a little update. Just last year, a little 758 square foot house on Brinkerhoff sold for $1.37 million.
And it was probably like rotten inside and full of asbestos and lead.
Right? Like
Yeah.
needed a full gut job.
Required
Or it was
a-
like an empty lot.
well, it was a house.
Yeah,
But
it was a house.
Sorry. Never mind.
And I swear, like when I was looking up stuff, that I saw something about a recent sale on Brinkerhoff being the highest price per square foot sale. Like, I don't know if it was like in the last year or like ever in Santa Barbara. But like that little house was $1,800 a square foot, which is like pretty high.
Yeah.
And I looked up the median price per square foot in Santa Barbara, and last year it was like $1,200.
Okay.
The median for California is like $415. For the whole country, it's $220. So yeah, real estate. Ugh.
Yep.
Anyways, moving on. Brinkerhoff also owned a piece of land on West Gutierrez Street that he donated to his church. And that's where the Trinity Episcopal Church was originally located. And that's the one that is now
It's pretty.
It's super pretty. That big, like,
Stone.
I don't know what
Gothic
is it
looking.
Gothic?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like
that
what my
one's, like,
brain
my
wanted to
favorite.
say, but I don't really know what that means. So, but
It's like
that's
a
what.
little tiny mini cathedral looking
Yeah.
type of thing. Yeah.
So it was originally on Gutierrez Street. So he donated the property to the church, and they built the church there. But then Southern Pacific Railroad had laid tracks down Gutierrez Street, and like the dirt and the noise was like obnoxious. So they were like, we got to move this church. So they built the new one up there at State and Mitchell Traina
Okay.
near Alameda Park.
Yeah.
And it was originally built with redwood
Oh.
in 1887, but burned down in 1903. And then they like raised a bunch of money and rebuilt it to what it is now. And that was completed in 1919.
Neat.
But it's really, it is a really beautiful church.
So it didn't fall down in the earthquake. That's interesting.
Well, what year is the earthquake?
20s.
Yeah. No, I guess it survived. I don't know. I mean, maybe
Nice.
it took some damage, but
Yeah.
yeah. And I started to like go out, look at the architect who built it, and he built a bunch of other like big cathedrals all around the country, like the Washington National.
Oh, the National Cathedral.
Yeah, like
Cool.
he was the architect that designed that.
Wow.
And like his dad designed like the Chelsea Hotel in New York.
oh,
Hotel Chelsea.
Sid and Nancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was just kind of interesting little connection to Brinkerhoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brinkerhoff passed away in 1880, leaving everything to his wife, Lucy.
Okay.
Lady's name for you.
Thank you.
He was buried at the Santa Barbara Cemetery.
Uh-huh.
And, I think I already told you guys, but I recently met this author, David Petrie, I think is his name.
Uh-huh.
He wrote a book about the cemetery called The Last Best Place. It looks like a super cool book. I'll have to track it down.
Yeah.
Oh, does he post on Reddit?
I don't know.
Maybe he does. I have
There's
to
a guy,
look.
Pete Healy, that posts. He
That's
does
who I'm
those then
thinking.
and now posts on. Yeah.
Okay, never
I
mind.
met him too. But this guy, David Petrie, he used to lead tours of the cemetery, and he is working on updating and restarting those tours.
Oh, we got to go.
So yeah, that could be super fun.
That's the Santa Barbara Cemetery.
Yeah.
Is the one out by Montecito, right?
Yes, up by
I
next
get
to the
them
Clark Estate.
confused. Because then the Goleta Cemetery is the one over by
Lacumba-ish.
by San Marcos,
By San Marcos.
like back behind there, by the juvenile
hall.
detention center.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But I don't. Yeah.
No, this is the one it is wildly expensive to even be buried at the Santa
Is
Barbara
it?
It's
Cemetery.
giant.
10 years ago, it was like $10,000 for a plot, but like, I don't know. But up there, okay, I go up there sometimes, and there's this whole section that just says, very ominously, like on the curb, it just says, Summers.
Ah!
And there's nobody in it.
Oh, funny.
And I want to be like, could I just have that?
Right.
Is it unclaimed?
Can I just sit here because it's mine?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that one is like, I mean, it's prime beachfront property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard this thing that like at some point, because there's a cliff, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
bounded by a cliff right over the ocean. And I've heard that at some point coffins just started like coming out
I've
of
heard
the
that
cliff.
too, like
Yeah.
during storms or whatever.
Yeah.
It seems a weird, like, I don't know. I'm assuming that when it started, it was much smaller and further from the ocean,
I don't know.
but it seems an interesting location for
Yeah.
a cemetery.
It's really pretty, but nobody that's dead can see anything.
Exactly.
So
You
like,
don't need a great view when
Yeah.
you're 6 feet under.
I've
Yeah.
never been up there. Like, I like to go to check out
Let's go up there.
cemeteries,
It's cool.
but yeah.
there's a lot of like monumental type.
Mhm.
Like there's a
Any
weird looking.
sarcophagi?
Yeah, probably. Like, but not like out. But there are crypts and stuff that
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
have them. And then, what else? Oh, there's like a pyramid.
Is there?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's cool.
Maybe I'll take my little spooky child.
Yeah.
We went when he was little, not little, but more little than probably most kids would asked me to take him to a real cemetery. So we went to the one in Goleta because I thought that's where my grandparents are buried.
Uh-huh.
But then we got there too late, and so like the office
Oh, it's
wasn't
closed,
yeah.
open, and I didn't know where they are. So we just kind of like walked around, and he was like, "This is the greatest." He was so excited.
He'll like the Santa Barbara one.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who's buried in the Santa Barbara one also is your dad's friend, Dr. Offerman,
Oh yeah.
from the Golden State Killer victim.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went up there and I was like, I had to go to the office. That's why I thought of it. And like ask them. And I was like, and they were like, is that your relative? And I was like, oh no.
You didn't go, do you get this a lot?
Well, they didn't because they were like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
they assumed
they
you
had a
knew
hard
them.
time finding his grave too.
Oh,
but
interesting.
I
Wow.
didn't, yeah.
The Genealogical Society is going to do their picnic at the cemetery there this year.
Oh,
I think in
picnic
October.
there.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so he passed away in 1880. And I found what I guess you would call it like a death notice. It wasn't really an obituary in the way that like you think of an obituary, like the story of somebody's family and their survivors and whatnot. But I'm going to read it to you.
Okay.
So it says, Santa Barbara, March 26th. Dr. S.B. Brinkerhoff, one of the oldest and most highly respected citizens of Santa Barbara, died suddenly this morning of heart disease. He was well known throughout Southern California. He had been complaining slightly for a day or so, but his death was entirely unexpected. He was 55 years old and had been for 25 years one of Santa Barbara's most enterprising citizens. 80 hundredths of an inch of rain fell yesterday. The total for the season is 22.5 inches. Farmers are jubilant and the business outlook is constantly improving.
Amazing.
I love that he complained for a couple days.
Yeah.
They
And
didn't-
that he was one of the oldest citizens.
I know.
And
Yeah.
he was in his 50s.
Yeah, so weird.
But I think it's funny that like they didn't specifically say that he was complaining about his health.
It was just annoying.
So I imagine like one day
He's like, God damn it, this rain.
my death notice would be like she was complaining for like years ahead of time, but you know that's just how she was.
She was constantly pissed off. Just in a shitty mood.
Always agitated.
Constantly complaining.
Oh man, I just like loved that they were like, oh, the farmers are so happy.
I know.
And it rained. Like,
Yeah. Wait. Okay. So how much rain was it?
oh, it was 80 hundredths of an inch.
80 hundredths of an inch. That doesn't seem like much. I don't feel like you would win
Isn't that
fantasy
8/10
rainfall
of
with
an
that
inch?
one.
Yeah.
So weird.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh my gosh. Okay, so after he passed, Lucy, his widow, wrote, "His life has been a ministry of good." And I found a report that his funeral was the largest funeral procession ever seen in Santa Barbara, I think.
Oh.
The line of carriages was fully half a mile long.
Oh.
He was known as the poor man's doctor, and seems like he often didn't like expect payment for his services. And
Wasn't he everybody's doctor?
I know, but I guess he just
Everybody was poor at Santa
Yeah.
Barbara.
yeah,
Okay.
sounds like he was just I don't know.
That's
a
good.
good dude.
Good dude.
Oh, and another connection to like famous Santa Barbara history is that he treated the lone woman of San Nicolas Island in 1853.
Oh.
Yeah, the woman whose story we all read in Island of the Blue Dolphins.
Yeah.
So Brinkerhoff is one of the ghosts that supposedly haunts the street.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, but I couldn't find like super specific accounts about that. Just like
Okay.
he haunts the street.
Does he just wander around complaining?
I know, right? It's like, oh, my arm hurts.
He's like,
I know.
My left arm is a little, my fingers are a little numb.
Yeah,
They do know I paid $20 for all of these houses.
I know, right?
Gosh.
He's like, it's so expensive to live here. Back in my day, I could buy this whole neighborhood for $20.
I just love the idea of like a really boring ghost. I'm so into it. Like, oh my gosh.
I've got another ghost coming up.
Okay.
Just muttering mild complaints.
Yeah.
So
Sorry. It's okay. I just want to talk about their day.
No, he's just like annoyed with the filing system in his office. Someday someone should develop like stickers with letters on them.
Why can't
We'll
the
make it a
Dewey
whole
Decimal
thing.
System work for offices?
Why do they always measure the rain in thousands?
Okay, sorry. Please
that's okay.
continue.
So okay, in 1886, what year did I say he died?
80.
80. Okay, so in 1886, Henry Talent bought that piece of land,
Okay.
who we know of because Talent Road up
Yeah.
near Oak
Say.
Park was named after him. So he was like a big deal in town. At that time, it was still undeveloped, and he subdivided it into the 18 lots. And by 1913, the houses were all built, and it probably looked pretty similar to how it does today.
Okay.
And so, like, of course, there have been improvements over the years and changes, but like the sandstone, like sidewalks and walls that we have around Santa Barbara, like all of that's, I think, pretty original. Okay, so some of the early residents of Brinkerhoff Avenue were Harry and Eliza Hawcroft.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Eliza Hawcroft. Yeah.
They lived at 519 Brinkerhoff. Don't go there and mess with them.
Okay.
Harry was a blacksmith, and he had a shop, I think, just like around the corner at 20 West Dakota Street.
Uh-huh.
He was nicknamed Lord Harry because he had a British accent.
Okay.
He was from the UK. He wasn't just like an Anglophile.
Okay.
And he dressed really nice, which I guess was unexpected for someone
Oh, who's a blacksmith?
who's a blacksmith. Yeah.
Right.
Do you think that like the nickname was like in like mean spirited, like where they were like, "Oh Lord," whatever his
Right.
last name was?
I don't know. But
He thinks he's so cool with his accent and his fancy clothes.
yeah, I don't know. It seems like he was like well liked, so maybe
Yeah.
it was fun.
Maybe I'm just the meanie.
Mean girl.
Just assumes.
At one point, he also had a shop at 512 State Street, which is now Joe's Cafe.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. In 1915, he sold his business to the Henry Brothers.
Oh.
Another name we're
All
familiar
these
with.
names.
I know, because of Henry's Beach, which is Arroyo Canny Beach. So anyway, Lord Harry passed away in 1932, but he is another one of the spirits that supposedly haunts Brinkerhoff Avenue.
Oh.
But this one, people report seeing the shadowy figure of a man in a tuxedo walking along the street and also inside his former home.
Okay.
Wait, he would wear a tuxedo to go
Oh,
be
yeah,
a blacksmith?
That's way too much.
I know,
don't
right?
like that.
I don't know.
I think they were mocking him with the Lord.
Yeah.
If he was wearing a tux to go be a blacksmith.
No, that's
Maybe.
like not. I was hoping it was just like well-tailored quality clothing or
Yeah.
So I
something.
think it was like a little fancy.
Oh,
a little
that's really annoying.
extravagant.
I don't like that.
Well, actually, I saw this other, like, there's this periodical, The Blacksmith and the Wheelwright. And there was a photo of him posted, and he says, like, I don't know, like, I wasn't going to tell you guys this part, but like, so he wrote into this magazine and like sent in a picture. So I've got a photo of him. And he wrote that all the blacksmiths in town made fun of him when he sold his bellows and replaced them with 4 hand blowers, but that half of them were now following suit. But I was like, I'm not going to go in and look at what's the difference between hand blowers and bellows. But anyway, so he's like, if all the other blacksmiths
Bellows
were
are
making
the
fun
big,
of him.
like, like installed enormous thing.
But then
with
what's
it.
a hand blower?
Just like,
A little one?
yeah.
I
like
can't
a
decide
handheld.
tiny
whether
bellows?
I like
Yeah.
this guy because he was like, I go work but I like to wear nice clothes on the weekends because like I can be down, like that's fine. Or whether he was like the first hipster, like, oh, you guys use the bellows. Have you? Well, I only use hand blowers.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I was gonna say, I bet he has a fancy mustache.
Yeah, I
but
think so.
I think probably everyone in town
Everybody, I
had
know.
them.
Like, there's like
Yeah.
2 other guys in his shop with him, and I think they also had the fancy mustaches.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let me tell you a little more about his ghost.
Okay.
So, somebody who later owned his house was like doing a little home improvement project and like putting up paneling in a room. And like one day he leaves the house and comes
And
back.
they heard a voice going, "Is that hand playing paneling?"
Jen does not like Lord Harry.
I don't either.
But so this guy leaves and like comes back later and like more paneling had been installed.
What?
And he says that it was Lord Harry, the ghost, must have done it.
Okay,
and
now I'm back
Why
on.
is
I'm
that
back
the
on.
option?
I don't know.
Now I'm back on Team Lord Harry.
I'm a little skeptical
But
of
he
this one.
didn't do it.
I know. I was like, maybe your wife did it, dude. And
Yeah.
and you just like don't think a lady can do home improvement projects. And then I wrote like ha 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 hashtag patriarchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
I just don't know.
I would like a ghost to haunt me that finishes my home improvement
Me
projects.
too. Can you please do the dishes while you're at
I
it?
was gonna say I'd love to leave the house and then come back and be like, wait, more of the dishwasher is unloaded
Yes.
now. Must be my ghost.
That would be okay with me.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Lord Harry, please come haunt my home.
But he didn't do it.
I know. It's so stupid. Oh my gosh.
I thought you were gonna say that like they were all down on the ground. Like I could see
like,
like
that
being
I
torn
know.
yeah,
down.
like a
Right,
ghost because it's like okay, but like they might have
Like,
just
you're
maybe
messing
you
with
just
my
did
house.
a bad job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rip
exactly.
it down, throw it, like
Yeah.
mess it all up.
But yeah,
that would be-
generally ghosts don't continue your DIY.
I know. Isn't that just so goofy? Oh my gosh. So that's all I have for today.
His wife's like sits around and tells this story differently. She's like, yeah, I kept trying to get him to finish it, so I just hired someone to do it, and
Oh
he
my
thinks it was
gosh.
a ghost.
Right,
I
he
just
like
did it my
refused to
fucking
hire
self.
somebody.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I bet you. Yep.
That totally makes sense. Oh man. So I also saw a few reports on Reddit of like spooky experiences and like haunted Victorian houses a couple blocks from State Street.
Oh, that's yeah.
And so like I'm speculating, but like,
Yeah.
I'm choosing to believe that those took place on Brinkerhoff
Yeah, I
Avenue.
bet.
But Redditors, if you're listening, you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Nice.
But
nice.
it shall be so.
Yeah.
There's one that's like kind of, it's not on Brinkerhoff, but
Mm-hmm.
it's around the corner. I think it's on the corner of Chapala and Haley there.
Mhm.
It's
That's
another
probably
kind of Victorian.
if it's within that
yeah, it was probably
side
part
of
of
the
that
block.
same.
Yeah, it was part of that parcel.
But it's obviously been split into a couple different little commercial areas. And there used to be like a magic shop in there. And
Oh,
I always went,
fun.
I want to go check that out. But I've never been in a single one of those
I don't think I have
buildings.
either. Was
There
there
used
like
to
a
be a-
knitting shop?
Yeah, there used to be a knitting
Yeah.
shop, and
Yeah.
I'd been in there, but like, I don't know. It seemed like a really expensive place to have a knitting shop.
Yeah.
And then they went out of business.
Yeah.
So
But saw some articles on LA Times, Independent, that Cartas.typepad website that we found stuff on before.
Yeah.
And what else? The city's website for the like design guidelines and historic
yeah.
district info. and the National Park Service for some info about Island of the Blue Dolphins. So that connection.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's where I got my news, my ghost news.
Nice. That was interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know who it was named after.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Or that he was the first doctor.
I know.
Very first one.
I feel like
poor
when you
man's
found a
doctor.
town, bring a doctor.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Bring
that
a
seems
few
like
basics.
and a blacksmith. Like bring the basics.
Yeah.
That's now you can't really do that. You can't really just show up somewhere and be like,
Start a town.
I'm gonna be your doctor
Oh,
because you have no other options.
I thought you were gonna say you can't just like buy some land and
yeah.
establish a
Oh
town.
yeah, no, that
You
too.
can.
I
That's
wish you
like-
could. I want to.
You can.
Yeah.
You totes can.
Okay. Donate to our Patreon so we can establish a
Yeah.
town.
Form a town. Compound.
I mean, I guess commune
Yeah.
town.
Absolutely. All right. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
What do we do at the end?
Oh, we do.
Oh,
We
wait,
do the magic
we
eight
did
ball.
magic
we
eight ball.
unpacked. We didn't. Where's the magic 8-ball?
I don't know.
Is it in your butt?
Right around the corner.
Have you checked your butt?
Oh, sorry. I should have gotten it
There it
instead
is.
of making you do it.
I see it.
All right.
Okay. Do we have a question? Let's ask something about
Did Lord Harry
Yeah.
finish the paneling?
Lord Harry.
He didn't though.
I know.
Okay.
Um,
Did Lord Harry?
no. How about did the wife? Did she do it?
Did she hire
she
somebody
Complete
finish
the job
paneling?
and
How about?
not admit it?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just.
Did Lord Harry's wife? No,
No.
not Lord
no, it was
Harry's
like
wife.
the later owner. Yeah.
Did the wife of the establishment that had the paneling put in? Did she do it?
What if she?
It is certain.
Yes. What if
Yeah.
she did it and she's like, honey, I finished the paneling, and he's like, no way.
No, it was
must have
probably
been
a ghost.
Women can't do that.
Or like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
I did it. It must have been ghosts. Amazing. No, honey, I did it.
Yeah.
Supernatural forces are at work.
Surely it was the ghost of the man who
It
lived
was
here.
me. All the papers.
Oh man, what did you say earlier on in this show, Summers? You said something about like the burdens of being a woman.
I don't know.
I'll find
sounds
it again.
That's gonna be her ghost
Oh,
walking
man.
around
Oh,
complaining
man.
about
Yeah.
the burdens of being.
No,
a
my
woman.
ghost is just gonna sleep the whole time. Like occasionally snore. Yeah.
That would be excellent. Just a ghost
Read
that
a-
snores.
yeah.
You like hear random snoring in your house.
Oh.
I'm gonna just like
That
watch
sounds
movies
terrible.
with you and like read a book over your shoulder.
Yes.
No, I
Like,
much prefer the one that finishes DIY project.
mine's gonna be fun. Mine will tell people about my special interests. I wonder what special interests I'll die with.
Like I bought some fabric a year and a half ago to make some pillow shams. Could you just finish that for
Right?
me?
I could knit for you.
Oh,
Good.
That would be good.
Imagine you like knit half a sock and then you get up to go to the bathroom and you come back and it's done. It's just sitting there. Finished. I finished that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if that was the ghost would just like do things like that and then be like, "You're welcome."
Oh, I know. I would.
And you're like, "I was enjoying knitting that sock. Thank you very much."
Right. Oh, you didn't do the right
just-
colors. You messed
need
up
to
my
say thank
pattern. Oh my goodness.
You just like load the dishwasher, run it through, come back from shopping like an hour later, and then all the dishes are to put away, and there's just a note on the "You're welcome." Ghost.
Oh, I love it.
Lord Harry.
Yep.
If ghosts could write you notes, though, I mean, that would
That'd be
make things
awesome.
so much easier.
Yeah.
All
If
right.
only.
Oh boy.
All right.
Okay.
See you later.
Hi,
Bye.
Mom.
See you next time. Thanks for listening to The Ghoul's Guide to Santa Barbara. Like and subscribe on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ghoul's Guide to SB.
Our website is ghoulsguidetosb.com. Got a spooky story or know of a haunted or paranormal location in Santa Barbara? Send it to us at ghoulsguidetosb@gmail.com.